Hey, Mike with No Problems Gaming here. In today's video, we'll be doing a review and how to play video on Ticket to Ride, so let's get into it. Alright, so now that we got the game out, let's walk you through how to play, and then I'll jump into my review after that. So in this game, you take on the role of a bunch of old friends that went to school together, and they're having a $1 million competition between themselves to see who can visit the most cities across North America via train in just 7 days. And the person that visits the most will win the $1 million. And in order to win the game, you'll need to score the most points as your player. And so how you do that is that you'll claim different routes between various locations on the board. You can successfully complete destination tickets, which might be something like building a train route from Miami to New York. And you can also gain points by completing the longest continuous path of trains. And so I've set up the game here, but just to explain what's going on so you know how to set up when you play, the first thing that you want to do is take out the point tracker tokens for each player that's playing. Give everyone their associated colored train cars. You want to set out the longest path card, also the point tracking card. You'll set up the draw deck. You'll deal each player 4 train car cards. Also deal each player 3 destination tickets. You'll then flip up 5 train car cards and then set the rest of them in a pile for the draw deck. You'll also have a draw deck for the destination cards. Players will then look at their destination cards, and of the 3 they need to keep 2, but they can keep all 3 if they want. If there's destination cards they don't want, they would simply put that on the bottom of the destination pile card. Again, if you complete the destination card, for example, building a set of trains that went from Miami to Los Angeles, in this case, you would earn an extra 20 points at the end of the game. Same thing with this one. If you built a train from San Francisco to Atlanta, you'd earn an extra 17 points. The routes don't have to be directly there, but as long as there's a continuous route, wherever it may be, between those points, you would earn those points at the end of the game. However, if you don't complete a destination from a card that you have, you actually lose those points at the end of the game. So again, it's kind of a press your luck mechanic when you play with those. Now on your turn, there's 3 actions that you can do. You can draw train car cards, claim a route, or draw destination tickets. So on your turn, a player can draw 2 train car cards. So from the face-up ones, you could draw 2, or draw 2 blindly from the draw pile. However, if there happens to be one of the rainbow train car cards, you can only draw 1 of those. But if you happen to draw a rainbow one blindly, you can still draw 2 cards in total. Also, when you do draw a card from the draw pile here that are face up, immediately replace it with a new card. So you could potentially draw a card, replace it, and draw that next card that you just replaced. Now you can claim routes as well. So if you had enough matching cards to complete a route, you could do so. So to complete a route, you simply need the number of matching color cards associated with the route you're trying to complete. So for example, if I was trying to complete this route right here, it's 4 oranges, so I'd need 4 orange cards to complete that. If it's a gray route, that means you can use any color to complete that, but they still need to be matching colors. So a little gray 2-1 here, for example, you could do 2 of any matching color type. Some of the routes you can see have 2 branches on them. If you're playing a 2 or 3 player game, you can only complete 1 direction instead of 2 if you were playing more than 3 players. The rainbow train car card, again, could be used in place of any color train car, so it can be paired up with other colors to complete a set. Now when you complete a route, you'll gain points depending on the number of train cars that were a part of that route. So you can keep this little card handy, but there's also a score tracker right on the board. And so each time you do complete a route, you want to mark those points off, and then you'll move your point tracker token up that many spaces. You can also draw destination tickets. So how that works is pretty simple. You'll just draw 3 destination tickets. Now you have to keep 1 of the destination tickets that you drew, but you can keep up to all 3. If there's 2 or 1 that you don't want to keep, you simply put those on the bottom of the destination card draw pile. So let's say I take this one, and then I would just put the other 2 on the bottom there. So play will continue back and forth between players, where each player again will take 1 of those options on their turn, either drawing cards, claiming a route, or drawing destination cards. And play will continue until at the end of a player's turn, they either have 0, 1, or 2 train cars left. At that point, every other player will get 1 additional turn, including that player that started the final round. After that, players simply calculate their final score, and the player with the most points will win the game. And so again, hopefully you've been keeping track of your points as you've played throughout the game. However, I would definitely recommend counting all of your points one final time just to confirm how many you have. At this point, the player with the longest continual train track will also get this card for the longest path for an additional 10 points. Players will add up their completed destination cards. So again, if they had a route of trains that went from San Francisco to Atlanta, in this case, they would get 17 points. However, if they did not have this route completed, they would lose 17 points. So go through your various different destination cards to count how many you've gotten and subtract how many you failed at getting. After that, it's just the player, again, that has the most points at the end of the game wins the game. But that's really the basics on how you play Ticket to Ride. If you have other questions, feel free to drop a comment below or check out the rulebook as they go into a little bit more detail. But now that you have a better idea on how the game works, let's jump into my review. Alright, so now that you have a better idea on how the game works, how do I actually feel about it? So Ticket to Ride, you can play from 2 to 5 players, and I think it scales well whether you're playing as a 2-player game or whether you're playing with more players. I think when it's a 2-player game, you kind of have more freedom, but some of the double tracks are taken away. But even when I've played a 5-player game, the game board didn't really seem overwhelmed. I still had a lot of options. Occasionally playing with that many players, I find myself getting cut off, but not really any more than, say, a 2-player game. I think the replay value of the game is incredibly high. Every single play session is going to be totally different. You're going to draw a bunch of different destination cards in one game compared to another, so you're going to be going for different routes. Again, it has that press your luck element to it as well, so you can draw more destination cards in hopes of getting locations you can get to with your trains. You can shoot for having the longest continual train, which reminds me of the longest road from Settlers of Catan. The game is pretty easy to learn, and depending on the number of players, most games will probably take you between 30 minutes to an hour. It's definitely fun for the whole family. My nephew, who's about 7, really likes the game a lot, and we even have friends that aren't necessarily gamers that don't really get into hardcore games. They like this game as well. I'm definitely a big fan of the game. It's one of my favorite 2-player games, but it plays great with groups of people as well. So if you like board games that are competitive and easy to learn and a ton of fun that have a high replay value, I definitely recommend Ticket to Ride. On top of that, there's a ton of different expansions. So if you like this base version of the game, there's plenty more to check out. And it's definitely worth adding to your nerd library. And if you want to pick up a copy of the game, there'll be a link in the description below where you can do so. And if you guys like this video, be sure to smash that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.